Hello, everyone. This is a Walk for Change interview. My name is Bobby Rodrigo, and I'm your host for this broadcast. Walk the number 4 change.us. The Walk for Change is an action movement about empowering people for human rights. We are going to make some changes in our country. We're going to do our best to do it. We know that there are a lot of problems out there, and the reasons why I walk are not necessarily the reasons why you walk. This is a very personal journey that we're all getting ready to take. We're going to start in June in California, and we're going to walk across the country. Becca Nichols has just recently released a video about the logistics of the walk and how it's going to be done. And she'll be doing more of that, and you can find those as well on the Walk for Change Facebook page, as well as the Walk for Change internet site, walk the number 4 change.us. We're also going to have a number of, smaller is the wrong word, parallel walks, accompanying walks in Canada and Mexico and other parts, Australia, other parts of the world, as well as other parts of the country. I know that there's going to be one going Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania. That direction is going to be one coming from Kansas, Colorado, Kansas, Missouri, Kentucky, those directions. I know Arkansas is involved, and of course the walk goes across the South. The idea is to make change. So I'm happy to come at you on this broadcast. I have a very special guest on. His name is Craig Smith. He is the creator and the owner of a very special internet platform. I'm going to let him tell you all about it. So without further ado, let me bring Craig on to the show. Welcome, Craig Smith. How are you? Thank you so much for joining me.
I'm not too bad. Yourself?
Not bad at all. So I was just letting everybody know that you have a very special and unique internet platform. I didn't tell them what it was. I want you to do that, of course, because I don't want to make any mistakes. I want to make sure they get the information correct as well. But I'm so happy to have you here, and I love your platform. So just first of all, tell us a little bit about you and who you are and your journey in life.
Okay. Well, it all started as myself being a web designer, and I've always found cannabis somewhere in my life at some point. I use cannabis for various reasons. And I decided to set up one day a cannabis social network, which is called Breaking Buds.
So your platform is a social network. Now, mind you, like I said, I of course know about it, but I haven't told our audience anything. I really wanted to give you the platform for it. And of course, we're going to make sure that everybody sees it. The Walk for Change already is on it. As well as other members of the coalition are actually working on doing that today, I believe, as a matter of fact. So talk a little bit about, so basically what you're saying is that you have a cannabis Facebook, if I'm understanding it correctly, yes?
Basically, yeah. We have been we've been in talks with the High Times magazine in America. As we all know, that the High Times magazine and the company itself is a huge company. We were discussing sort of advertising on their platform at some point later on down the line. But for now, we've had those guys come over and have a look. They're like, wow, you're the Facebook of cannabis. It is exactly what it is. It's a social media website in itself. We've currently got apps in development, which are later on going to be introduced at some point this year. I've just come across a couple of roadblocks because, as you can appreciate, there's only so much that I can do myself. Now, I'm working with various people around the world, Canada, America, Europe, and various other places as well, trying to get people sort of like in the light of knowing about where they can go. It's a safe place for people to express themselves about cannabis and their use of cannabis. It's a safe place for cannabis businesses and cannabis industry advocates to be able to go there and actively promote what it is that they want to do, providing obviously it's all about cannabis. And, Breaking Buds gives you that opportunity to be able to, freely express yourself without judgment, because that's what we're all there for at the end of the day. Whereas, Facebook was originally designed for university students back in the day, and then it was released into the public domain. And once that became popular, that's more like aimed towards families, and you tend to add your families on there as your friends, etc., etc. However, the primary focus on Breaking Buds is to offer a platform where nobody is scrutinized for the using of cannabis itself or any of its products, and it's a free social environment for everybody.
You mentioned a lot of things there that are very important to me personally and to fellow advocates that I know, colleagues, and of course the people involved in the Walk for Change. And obviously you're covering an area, for example, at the end of prohibition, which of course is something that so many of, I think I've been an anti-prohibitionist since I was out of the womb, or at least close to it. I just never understood that dynamic of the oppressive nature of it until I learned what that was really about later. And so you are in England, correct?
That's correct, yeah.
Right. So you have a prohibition problem in there as well. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, of course. Cannabis has always been illegal in England. Now, the use of CBD products is perfectly fine, providing that the THC content is less than 0.2%. I understand that in America and various other parts of the world, you're allowed a little bit higher THC content.
Yeah, it's 3 here.
Yeah, 0.3, I think. Over here, it's just been, the use of cannabis medically is much more important, and that's the way that I feel that I feel that cannabis should be available to people that have medicinal needs and requirements for the plant itself. Now, what you've got is the government dictating to you that you're not allowed to smoke a plant. It's a plant. It was given to us. As far as I can see, and I understand, I'm not biblical myself, but I have studied parts of the Bible. God gave us everything, including the plants.
Well, it's an important point that you mentioned that, only because the biblical communities tends to be overwhelmingly a problem in this discussion, but I really think it's more about the true nature of government than anything. The plant medicines, many plant medicines, not just cannabis, have been suppressed. We have a lot of reasons that we can talk about it, but not without going down that hole. Really what we're talking about is liberty and the freedom to choose our own health care. We all know that cannabis has never killed anybody by its consumption in the history of the world. That's pretty important, because I always say, what are you protecting us from, essentially, when you're creating this protective society?
Personally, I think it's all about the ability for the taxation of the product.
That too, sure, of course.
That's exactly what it is, and it's here in the United Kingdom, we're supposed to have freedom of speech, and we're free to do whatever we want, providing it's within the law. Now, the law states you're not allowed to have cannabis, but this wasn't introduced until a couple of 100 years ago. So why is it we had many people used to smoke cannabis in England a long time ago before these laws were introduced, and that's purely because they can't monopolize on that. And
right.
that's how I feel. And I haven't got anything, I've got no vendettas against the British government at all, but I think that they need to relax on the fact that cannabis is a plant. Cannabis is natural. How can you ban and make illegal cannabis because it is nature? This thing grows wild.
No, it's true. I mean, fundamentally for me, for example, personally, it's a turnip. It is. We should be able to grow it, and for those of us who don't want to grow it, we should be able to go to the store and get it. I was interacting with cannabis, very, very young, and I saw its medicinal uses very, very young, just with people who were using it to combat nauseousness for chemotherapy, which I always say in my debates, and I really don't debate this anymore. I basically refuse to debate anything about cannabis anymore. I want the solutions instead. But when I did debate it, I said, well, if it's used for nauseousness, then it basically has the same medicinal properties as Alka-Seltzer and Rolaids at a minimum. And those things have side effects, and those things are sold over the counter. So it really is quite ridiculous to me, in those levels. And you try and break it down to where people will understand it. But it is, the good thing is that the medical community, the formal medical community, particularly with the discovery of the endocannabinoid system 40 years ago, it is allowing traditional medicine to understand from a teaching standpoint, which is very important, because of course the indoctrination has been heavy, as you know.
Mm-hmm. And from my understanding about the research on our bodies itself, our bodies, we use cannabinoids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, receptors, sure. Yeah.
We're designed to take them. So
all mammals are actually. This is pretty much all mammals, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's a way of it's the way of the government controlling us, and the way that they control us is unfair. It is unfair. And one of the primary objectives of Breaking Buds itself is to not only to bring people together in the communities and the industries, but it's to also educate people on the uses of it, on why we should, why it should be legal, not legalized. It needs to be decriminalized.
That's correct. Yes.
It's the
All
decriminalization.
about that. Yes.
Of course it is. And a lot of people say it needs to be legalized. Everybody from the 60s has been banging on and raving on about legalization. No, it's decriminalization. That's what we need. And until that day comes, over here in the UK, it was classed as a category A substance for many years. And it's a plant that helps you. It's a medicine. It's not, in my eyes, I suffer from severe back pain, and sometimes in the evenings I cannot sleep. And what I found is that cannabis products, I'm not going to say what, but certain cannabis products can help me ease my pain. And if I go to the doctor, we all know what they give you.
Oxys. There, you want some oxys? You need, yeah.
They try to give me opiates. Opiates such as tramadol. And
yes.
And tramadol is lethal to the system. It kills your cells. It kills your bodies. It's not a natural thing. It's a medical derivative of opium. And to me, that's not a medicine. That's, I have taken them because the pain has been that severe.
Sure.
I broke my back in a speedboat accident in Gibraltar. And, the doctors were marveled by me being able to walk into the surgery, into the hospital. And they're like, you shouldn't be walking. And, unbeknown to the doctors, I'd already stood outside and had a smoke before I went in. So, the pain had sort of subsided away. And, I just want to express I want to get as many people onto Breaking Buds as possible. It's a social network where you're not going to be scrutinized for the amount of cannabis that you smoke. You could be a stoner. I don't care. You use it for your own personal reasons. If that's the way that you need to medicate, then and you need to be constantly high. That's fine. Personally, I'm not. I like to have a smoke and then just relax.
Sure.
Just for sleeping. And when it comes to Breaking Buds, the overall be all and end all of it is, if we grow it in numbers, then 1, 2, 3 people ain't going to make a difference. Not in this world. And if you have 1, 2, 3 people that are stood in the street outside Parliament and they're screaming, nobody's listening. Nobody's going to listen. Now, if you've got tens of thousands of people all singing from the same hymn sheet, it makes an impact. people are going to start to listen to them because you're creating a scene. And, you know, power is in numbers.
Absolutely.
The more people we've got on this platform, we can, you know, any petitions that may come across, you know, that may arise in the future for certain countries. Yeah, we've legalized cannabis in this area, but it's not decriminalized. Then, you know, let us all come together as a community online, you know, of cannabis lovers, that we can all put our names to that, and we could make change in those particular areas.
Yeah, there's no doubt, and of course, from the Walk for Change standpoint, we're happy to have you as a sponsor for the Walk for Change, and help promote that aspect to it. You know, for us, as you know, the idea is liberty, freedom, and the freedom to choose. And your platform, as you mentioned earlier, not just for, you know, anybody from the stoner to the patient, but it also is a place for the businesses to thrive as well, and to advocate, and to show their products, and to not be censored, and to educate why they do commerce, which is like any other commerce as well. You know, you're allowing a platform, which for me is wonderful, and just touch a little base on that as well.
The business side of things, we have a marketplace, which it basically enables anybody that's on the website, on the platform, any member is allowed to create a product for sale. So whether that be, you know, hoodies with branding on them, that somebody has a business doing that. We might have, you know, a glass blower maybe that wants to sell their bongs and pipes. That's fine. We don't scrutinize people on what they can and can't sell. So anything, you know, paraphernalia, they can sell it. We're allowing people to sell it and market it as such as well. You don't have to censor the word. You can call it cannabis, you can call it weed, skunk, whatever you want to call it. And, you know, I think that's one of the most important things, you know, that we don't censor anything on the website. Now, obviously, in order to become a seller on the website of, let's say, cannabis product, so anything that derives from the cannabis plant that would be considered as a drug in you know, in different countries around the world, or anything that contains a THC content. CBD, absolutely fine. We you know, we're not bothered about that.
Right.
But anything that contains a THC content, all we do is we ask you to verify your business, because we need to make sure that you're not a drug dealer, right? Because we don't advocate that. What we advocate.
You're not here for the black market, essentially. You're here for the real market, right?
Definitely not. It all has to be legitimate businesses that sell cannabis products, but they have to, you know, they have to show us their business registration certificate and a form of identification in order to be able to be passed on being an approved member, and that would allow that person or that business to then start to push their products on our marketplace.
That's fantastic. Great way to do it. Of course, you know that there, as I'm sure you know, as a website guy and going into this area, the web, the dark web, all those things have been, you know, paramount in the law enforcement world for how long. We have some really, well, we have some good and we have some very bad examples of how law enforcement deals with this aspect of the web. We had a very important case over here from the activist community about that, as you know. So yeah, it is really important that you do that, of course, and it keeps everybody safe and on an even playing field from a business side, which is always nice. Let the market dictate, which is always nice, instead of having all of these rules that don't work and having people doing things that are rogue. So Craig, go ahead. So Craig, how do people get a hold of you? What's the website? Give it all.
Right. Okay. So if you were to Google Breaking Bud's cannabis social media, you would see us on the first page. We are there. We do need to work a little bit on our SEO to be showing for Cannabis Social Network. I think we might be on the second or third page for that at the moment. The website address is www.social.breaking-buds.com. Now, it is a bit long. It's a bit long-winded. I am looking to introduce some sort of another word or a shorter URL in order to be
Sure.
able to take
Sure.
people. But if they, if anybody goes there, they can. It's free to join. It's a place where everybody can, you can make friends there. You can post your business on there. That's fine. We have other things on there as well, such as the ability to create a page. So you can create a business page, or you can create a fandom page, or anything to do with cannabis or whatever you want. You could. It doesn't even have to be about cannabis. People will still go to that particular page. So it might be cars for sale in a particular area, or anything. It just adds value to, obviously, the whole platform itself in terms of being a social media site. The other things that we've got on there as well is we have the ability for people to create their own groups. So you see all these groups on Facebook.
Yeah.
Your groups on Facebook can range from 10,000 people right the way up to 200,000 people.
Yeah.
I'm a member on quite a few of those.
As am
Although
I. As am I. I actually admin probably 50 of them. So I
I
understand.
admit this is it. This is it. I've become a moderator or an admin on quite a few of these groups
Yeah.
because they can see where I'm coming from with my platform, and they've all
Same.
said,
Right.
we want to move our members over.
Yeah.
So there's the ability for members to do that. If you've got any useful information, if you know anything about growing, if you know anything about cooking and making edibles and things like that, anything to do with any kind of topic that you'd like to talk about with regards to cannabis, we have a blogging facility as well. So members can actually create and start their own blog.
Fantastic. That's great. I mean, so all things cannabis, everybody. This is Craig Smith. We are happy to have him as a sponsor for the Walk for Change. Craig, great to spend some time with you as always. I do want to loop around with you later and talk to you about some other things. I have a lot of people to introduce you to. If you and I can stop being so damn busy, maybe we can get that done. For sure. I don't know how. I need to go back to when my childhood. I know that there was 28 hours in a day when I was a kid. I don't seem to find those extra 4 as an adult. I don't understand it. I'm telling you. But you have a great rest of your day. I'll be in touch, and thank you for joining me today.
You're welcome. Take care.
Take care. So again, everybody, Craig Smith, Breaking Buds social media site, great sponsor. You find the link to the organization on the Walk for Change website, walk4change.us. It's time for us to make some change in our world, and we're hoping that we are inspiring you to get involved. We don't want to talk to the choir. We want to make the choir bigger. We want everybody to hear our songs and understand where we're coming from, and we want to present legislation, policy changes. We want people to be involved from all aspects of life: criminal justice reform, farm to the table, taking care of our environment, ending prohibition, keeping families together as much as possible. Children separation is a big, big thing in our world as well. We want to take care of our vets. We want to make sure that they're not homeless. We want to make sure nobody's homeless as fast as possible. So we're about the Walk for Change, everybody. Please join us. Please check out our website, walk4change.us. I look forward to seeing you. Until next time,